Hello everyone, this is group 7. We're going to be talking about Bluetooth technology, and the group is Caleb, I'm Caesar, Samuel, and Tristan. We're going to be going over a little bit of the history of Bluetooth, the problems, issues, how to overcome, and how Bluetooth communication works. So first, let's start with history. Bluetooth was developed by Ericsson Mobile Communications in the mid-1990. And the main idea behind the development of the Bluetooth development was for them to connect the keyboard wirelessly with the computer. And in order to promote Bluetooth and have a bigger impact, a bigger acceptance, Bluetooth Special Group was founded in 1998. And the SIG is composed of many different companies that work together in order to make Bluetooth technology better. So let's go over a little bit of the characteristics of the Bluetooth. The Bluetooth operates in the license-free industrial, scientific, and medical, ISM for short. The frequency of operation is 2.4 gigahertz. The problem with that frequency is that is widely used everywhere. Like, for example, Wi-Fi use the same band, microwave oven, even though most of it stays inside of the, I would say, cage of the oven. You can still, like, the little bit that leaks is thousands of times more powerful than the Bluetooth itself. So how do they overcome those issues? They use what we call frequency hopping. It changes frequency, does use 75 channels, each with a bandwidth of 1 megahertz. And it changes frequency 1600 times per second, approximately a hop every 625 microseconds. There are two types of data transmission. One of them is parallel, which sends all the bits at the same time and use a clock in order to put both the receiver and transmitter in accordance with each other, so they know when to start sampling and when to stop sampling. And same thing for serial. Serial sends the bits one after the other. Some serials they can use clock, which they are synchronous, and some other, like Bluetooth, we're gonna go over right now. The Bluetooth is asynchronous, no external clock. Synchronous utilizes an external clock. The importance of clock, like I was saying, is that the receiver and transmitter, they need to know when to sample data transmission. Like, if you send a data, it needs to know when to start and when to finish, at what time to sampling, otherwise it could get messed up. We can see on the example there on the right side that if you're sampling in the middle, you're gonna get 3 ones and then 3 zeros, and that's not correct because the signal was 1 and 0. So it's very important to have some sort of clock. Like synchronous use that external clock that are connected one to the other, but Bluetooth is wirelessly, so we need a way that we can make both of them connect being synchrony without any of those clock, without the extra wire. So we're gonna go over that in a little bit, but first we're gonna talk about the serial protocol, which is the order that things need to be sent, so they're both in accordance one with the other. The serial protocol is data bits, of course. We need to send the data. Synchronization bits, which is the start and the stop. Parity bits, which is not necessary, but it can be used. And the baud rate. We're gonna go over each one of them and explain a little bit about each. Starting with data bits. Well, data bits is the data that we want to send from one device to another. And it can range from 5 to 9 bits, but of course the most common is a byte or 8 bits. And then we have the synchronization bits, which is the start bit and the stop bit. The start bit is when the transmitter goes from idle, which is logic high, to logic low. That's when it starts to send the data information. And the stop bit, it holds at logic high. The parity bit, like I was saying, it's not really necessary, but you can add them in order to have another error-free check. So you're just going to be checking to see if there is an error. So parity bit, what it does is it counts the amount of ones sent in the data. And for example, if you odd, if there's an odd number of ones, the parity bit is set to logic high or 1. And if there are even set of parity bits, it would set to logic low. Like for example, we have 116 decimal, which is 101000000. It has two ones. The parity bit is set to logic low. So when the transmitter sends that logic low, the receiver has to also count the ones and see that there is a even number of ones. Otherwise, you'll send an error and the message has to be transmitted all over again. The baud rate is their sampling time. So most common is 96 bits per second. Of course, both receiver and transmitter have to be in the same baud rate. And if you want to know how long it takes for a bit to be transmitted, you can just invert the baud rate to find time a bit takes to be transmitted. So here's like a resume of what we were talking about so far. We can see in the example there, the start bit's logical low, and before that is at idle, which is logic high. So it starts at logic low, and then it goes to data bit, which it can be 0 or 1, whatever. And in the example there, we don't have the parity bit, but it can be added. And then once the data bit, which is 8-bit there in this case, is transmitted, it just stays at logic high. That would be the stop bit. That's when the transmitter and receiver both know when to start and stop collecting information. And data can be sent from least significant bit to most significant bit or vice versa. Okay, we need to find a way to make those serial protocol. So for example, if we connected on a microcontroller, most of our data is in parallel. So we need to convert those parallel data to series data so it can be transmitted over Bluetooth. And that's what WART stands for, is Universal Synchronous Receiver and Transmitter. It's serial to parallel conversion on a data received from device, and parallel to serial conversion on data received from the CPU. So it just converts so it can be transmitted one to the other.
The pros of Bluetooth. On a day-to-day basis, we use Bluetooth almost 100% of the time. Everyone uses Bluetooth. But do we ever actually sit down and think about how Bluetooth is so important to us? There are many reasons why there are many pros of Bluetooth. One of the main reasons is that it is easy upgradable. This is saying how all the time, each and every day, there are people out there trying to upgrade Bluetooth and is able to, because Bluetooth is so simple and easy to upgrade. This also helps us, the users, know, because each and every year Bluetooth is upgradable, so the quality of it is going to be better and better. Secondly, is because you can share voice and data. There are many devices that you are able, like your phone, for example, you're able to share pictures and airdrop into phones easily and accessibly, that we don't actually think about what's going on. But because it's so simple, we are able to do so. We don't see the true importance of Bluetooth. It has lower power consumption. This is a great reason why Bluetooth is a big pro. This has a big pro of Bluetooth, because the power consumption of a Bluetooth device, any Bluetooth device or device has Bluetooth, doesn't take too much charge away from the device. For example, like a speaker or a phone, Bluetooth won't take up most of the charge from it, and it allows the device to last for longer periods of time. Bluetooth devices are available at very cheap costs. This is true where a lot of people have Bluetooth earpieces for only $10 to $20 anywhere. You can find in any store worldwide. This is very helpful, as to Bluetooth is very important to on a day-to-day basis that many people have, and having it as a cheap is able to improve businesses and people's connections to other people. It is a worldwide universal standard. This is a great way Bluetooth is a pro, because it's not just here in the United States where we're here, but also in Europe or in Asia, or in South America or Africa, where Bluetooth is Bluetooth everywhere around the world. Because this shows that Bluetooth is a very powerful tool, and that not only is it here, but many people across the world have it, and you're able to share the data and voice across the world. Less hardware. So as you can see, there are many Bluetooth devices that's in your phones, in the cars, or in speakers. This or in your laptops. And this is a good case because Bluetooth does not take up too much of that space. And by saying so, it won't take up too much of the power from the device. This is a great way to show that Bluetooth is a pro and is very useful. More security. Bluetooth has Bluetooth will not, so like for example, when you are sharing your pictures or data or voice recordings to other people, you're only allowed to share them to who you want to share with. Other people are not able to get into your phone and tag it unless you allow them to. Simple and easy to use and manage. Now, with Bluetooth, I was saying there are many different like for example, many people use Bluetooth now for their cars and to connect their cars to the phones or phones to other phones or phones to laptops or to earpieces or headphones. And we are able to do so within seconds. And this is a great way how Pros of Bluetooth is able to help you manage every single day and listen and help with the voices. And you're able to listen to them all the time. The technology, the last pro of Bluetooth is the technology is adopted in many products, such as headset, your car system, your printer, your webcam, your GPS system, and your keyboard and mouse. Each of us in this classroom or everybody on a day-to-day basis uses at least uses most of these devices here I just listed. And do we actually think about how we use them or how it's connected each and every day? Bluetooth is a great device that actually helps life become a lot simpler, especially when you're able to connect it to your car and you're able to focus on your driving and not always on your radio or phone. So this is why there are many pros of Bluetooth. These are one of the only few ways of how Bluetooth to become a pro, and it's able to make a big difference in everybody's lives.
As Caleb mentioned earlier, there are many pros to using Bluetooth. However, there are also many issues using Bluetooth that could cause harm to your device. And this is something that you guys should be aware of. So this is what I'm going to be covering on my topic. The first area is where you may have a malicious attacker or ethical hacker who took control over your device via Bluetooth, and he could do certain things with it. He could either A, he can make your device stop working by making it crash. B, he can block your device from receiving any phone calls. And C, he could also drain the life battery of your device. My personal opinion is if you have a malicious attacker or ethical hacker that does this, that should be the least of your worries because there's so much more damage they could do that this is very basic. And as we continue on with this PowerPoint, you will come to understand. The next area is where you might consider yourself being safe in an isolated area using your phone or device, Bluetooth, and nobody's around you. You might come to think that you're safe. However, that is incorrect to think because you could always have an attacker attack you from far, even though Bluetooth is meant to be in a local access. To prove my point, I will tell you guys a story of an ethical hacker where he was really far away from his enemy that he wanted to destroy, where his enemy was in Starbucks using his phone, and he was away across the street. And he was able to attack this person that was sitting in Starbucks via Bluetooth. So the obvious question comes to be, how was he able to do this if they were such a long distance away? So what the ethical hacker did was he connected an antenna to his device, which allowed him to have a longer reach towards other people's devices and attack them via Bluetooth. And I think this is something really important people should be aware of because don't think you're safe just because you're far from somebody. They could always attack you from distance. The next area is through headsets or headphones. People think that it's no issue using a headphone or a headset via Bluetooth. However, that's not true Because let's say if somebody was able to get into your headset or headphone by hacking into it via Bluetooth, that user would be able to listen into your phone calls. Because sometimes users, whenever users of their headphones, they will have a conversation on the phone. And if a hacker was able to get in that device, they could hear all of their conversation, and that could be sensitive information, not for other people to hear. Another area is where even with your Bluetooth headphones, the rate someone hacked into it, they could even listen to the conversation that you are around, because most headphones nowadays have a speaker, and this speaker, this hacker or malicious attacker could listen into. And this is another area that I feel like you guys should be aware of. Another con I found about Bluetooth is that many people, they can use different types of software online that's set up for people, and this is really bad because there's so many different type of hacking tools just for Bluetooth that will cause them to do damage to other people, and these could be random people, right? You could have your average Joe going on using a Bluetooth device and learning to use it for malicious reasons. And I think this is really bad because this should be only used for ethical reasons, not for bad reasons. The last area is where anybody that has a Bluetooth device is almost in danger of being exploited from an attacker. Because no matter what, if an attacker wanted to do damage via Bluetooth, he could do it. And to prove my point, I'm going to show you guys a video. But before I do that, I would like to give you a background about this video. There was this person who has a safe that works via Bluetooth. I believe it's a Vault-Tec type of a safe. It cost around $280. And this person was able to hack into it just by creating a script on his laptop via Bluetooth. Here's the video.
All right, my name is Tristan Lehman. I am a CS major. The very first line that we have in this from the initial overview that you saw before was the define LED red. Now that definition is needed so that the LED on the MSB430 is the LED that's lighting up, and it doesn't exist on like a breadboard or coming out of another pin. Without this, the LED on the MSB430 would not light up every time it does in the video that you'll see later. Then you've got the initial setup. So Energia programs always start with an initial setup. If you're used to Code Composer Studio, it's basically the same thing you do when you disable the watchdog timer. In this, you would set any initial things you needed. So for instance, ours has the serial.begin. That sets the baud rate for communications that you need for Bluetooth modules. And then you've got the pin mode. This is setting that red LED pin that exists on the MSB430 to an output that lifts the internal resistor so you could actually see the LED light up instead of just seeing a dim red light. Then we move on to our main loop. The main loop is where the main body of the program exists. It's where all of your processes are defined and where your program actually does things. And we're going to get into each part of this in just a second. The next thing we've got is the initial if statement. So this checks first to see if there's data available from the Bluetooth connection. If there is not, nothing happens the entire time. There is no subsequent else statement that would cause something else to happen. It just continuously checks to see if something is available, and if it is available, it saves whatever that data from the Bluetooth connection is to the variable called data received, which is always a char in this case, since we're sending ASCII variables over the connection. Then you've got the nested if statements. These statements determine how the MSB430G2553 responds based on the given commands that we send it. This is mostly for debugging and demonstration purposes. Obviously, if we were going to use this in our main project or our mini project, then we wouldn't have it just turning on an LED light. We'd probably have it activating some system or enabling some other module connected to the board. The first one says that if the data received is a 1, i.e. the character number 1, then we are going to create the LED to high, which means it turns on. And then we're going to let the user know on the Bluetooth terminal that the LED has turned on. And then if the data received is a 2, i.e. the ASCII character 2, then we're going to set the LED to low, i.e. we're going to turn it off, and we're going to let the user know on the terminal that the LED has turned off. Now you're going to see a video here in a few seconds. That one's going to show you exactly the same thing I did. It uses a Bluetooth terminal application on an Android phone, and all it does is send the ASCII values and data over the Bluetooth connection from the phone to the HC-05 Bluetooth module. Once we hit 1, then it goes up to high and the red LED turns on. Once it goes low, then the red LED turns off.